What I want to do in this video is just give you an update of what I've been working on. Any pointers, things that you may see in this video that maybe I should know about that I'm not taking on or doing in order, I would very much appreciate it. Money worm. Arthur here. I'm with the Exit 19 Jeepster. Been doing a lot of work independently without Tyler the last several weeks after I got the Jeepster back from Oklahoma, and Tyler did a fantastic job on the roll cage. I've turned a wrench growing up, but never anything to this degree. What I'm working on right now, making these fender flares, which holy smokes, again, from a novice welder and having to deal with heat and having to deal with expanding metal and contracting metal in 90-degree plus ambient temperature out here has been a bear. Slow process, and I'll walk you through what I've been doing with that. I didn't really like the options that were out there, from plastic, some of the metal ones, to some of the aftermarket, so I decided to make my own using tube steel, 1 inch by 3 inch by 14 gauge wall. This is the Fender flare project that I've been working on that has really taken a lot more time than I thought it was going to. Fortunately, the metal is not too expensive. Getting this material by a 20-foot stick for under $100. So it's been helpful because I've screwed up quite a bit. The heat expanding and contracting with these different angles. I've got 9 different angles here to accommodate the arch of this front fender has been a lot, but it's a matter of patience. Using compressed air to cool things down, I think, has helped me quite a bit and just slowing me down. I tend to be all on or not, so trying to get in a hurry is your biggest enemy when it comes to welding this rather thin metal. This is 14 gauge that I'm using, and I liked it better than some of the fender flares that I had or was considering. So again, the angles on this are tricky, and it's a work in progress. What you'll also notice on this fender was another challenge I had to work with the even thinner steel, and that's the bump, let's call it, or the appendage on the inside of this fender. What are you looking at here? This is an interesting project that I took on to accommodate for the air conditioning compressor on the inside of the engine compartment. I had to cut it out because there was no room. I didn't want to leave the hole there, so I wanted to create an appendage or a teardrop or bubble on the inside of the fender. I did that by hand. I created a form on a square or somewhat rectangle square piece of metal. Then I had to cut that shape out on the inside of the flare and weld it in. Again, even thinner metal. Didn't do this, but I did this more than one time because I kept screwing up. I tried it some other ways, and again, the heat of the Texas area, as well as working with welding products, I was warping, I was burning through. It was a big pain in the rear, but I just kept going and got it done. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It fits well and looks really good. I think a lot of my grinding is just, a lot of my welding has been covered by my grinding, and certainly it'll be covered up even more with undercoat on the inside of the fender, as well as whatever I decide to go with on the inside of the fender, whether it just be paint or what have you. But real happy with the way that turned out. That's what's going on with the fenders. Been doing a lot of work on the bulkhead. That's a big project. I'm still working on that. Bulkhead. This has been a very difficult project to work on. Not only did we have to accommodate a fantastic roll bar, again, that Tyler made into this half cab. It will be completely concealed. You won't even see the dead gum roll bar unless you see the A-pillars here. You really won't see that unless you're looking at it from the front, and maybe even see the grab bars from the side, but not much. Tyler did a great job again doing that. So the bulkhead on this half cab, the original bulkhead, I did cut it. Many would really say, what in the world have you done that for? But I did it for storage. As you know, these Jeeps don't have any storage. So I'm closing in, or I closed in the half cab with some steel. I'll show you that from the back side in a minute. But I've got boat doors to accommodate storage. I can put all kinds of stuff in here. As you know, the passenger seat does fold forward, which gives me access to this door. Driver's seat does not. I was able to create a structure and use the original bases with the seats that I'm using, and I've got a tilting seat now. So it actually works really well. So I can get access to both of these boat doors to get to storage in the back. So to be determined. The biggest thing about this bulkhead, of course, is going to be getting all this welded up correctly. Now, really welding. I don't want that to look bad. I've got some spot welds in to hold some of the structure, but I am not a great welder. I'm a better grinder. So I'm going to need some help on that. And that kind of is to be determined how I'm going to get that done. But again, most importantly here is moisture and water. I want to keep that from getting into the cab area and causing all kinds of issues. So it's going to be really important to get that drawn up tight. Getting these pieces cut and oriented is going to be my challenge. So any ideas or pointers there, I will take them. And I'll show you on the half cab, which is hanging from the ceiling here. I've done some work on that. I had to cut this out, unfortunately, because at the last minute when I was bringing this whole vehicle up to Tyler's place in Oklahoma to do the roll bar, the top didn't fit. So I had to last minute just totally cut out the welding that I'd done to get the top on so I could get it out of here. So I'm going to have to redo this, repair this. But the problem was that it was not mating up correctly with this bulkhead piece that I have in place. So again, my challenge here is going to be welding everything in correctly with small tolerances so I can fill it up with some type of material. It could be any number of different things to keep water out, but I've got to get it as tight as I can from a welding standpoint. So that's probably one of my biggest challenges left, other than what I'm working on with the fender flares. I've been working a lot on the dash, been updating this dash to accommodate a double den stereo, full AC, and orienting that and getting that in the right position and lined up correctly is taking a lot of time. All right, what's been going on here? This has been more patient and slow work. You're dealing with a dash that is very thin metal. You can't really make mistakes because then you have to weld it all back up, and I sure as heck didn't want to do that. This particular vehicle is going to have a full vintage air conditioning system, so I had to figure out where I wanted to put my vents. You can see from the passenger side, the two in the center, and then there's one on the other side of the steering column. I've got my controls for the HVAC, and then I've got a double din stereo that I'll put in as well. A whole lot of work over on the cluster side. I did that some time ago, removing the original cluster and having some custom gauges made. They're going to look fantastic. They're going to be white. They're going to be 3 instruments per one, 3 ones. So I have all the things that I need to update the new LS motor that's under the hood. Steering column, I had to work on that one. I bought 2 of them. Bought one that was too long, went with a shorter one. That's a 30-inch. I had a 31-inch. It was just too much. And then the twin stick down here. This was an interesting project because I needed to anchor it somehow on the top of the AX15 transmission, and there really wasn't any surface or structure to mount that shifter. So I created one out of some strip metal, and it actually turned out really well. I had to weld in the cover, but that really turned out well. I think it's going to accommodate everything here. You can see the well bar or roll bar that Tyler did a fantastic job creating completely on his own. I helped him with it, but he did most of it. I like the way that the roll bar doesn't come straight down. It does go through the firewall and it connects on the back side there. Tyler had that in another video to show you how that was done. I'm gonna have to cut some holes into the kick panels here for some 5 1/4 inch speakers. I'll probably have some type of powered sub underneath a seat or something. And then I'll have 4 5 1/4 inch speakers for stereo. But dash area is looking good. I've got some more work that needs to be done in here before this thing goes off the paint. But slowly but surely coming along. The gas tank, I'm using an Aero tank, 20 some odd gallons. And the way that the fuel line came down through the rear of the truck, that had to be completely redone. I'll show you kind of what I had to do there. Gas tank and filler neck. This has been a really interesting challenge that I had to work on. Again, my welding skills and more importantly, my grinding skills came into play. I put a door filler cap, which is going to work great here. Body man's going to be able to take care of some of this nastiness on the outside, but on the inside here, I did create a cover, made my own cover that'll enclose this and keep all this from getting banged around. But the issue was, as the filler neck came through, it just didn't line up correctly. So I had to re-cut that out, re-weld in, reorient that so that it worked underneath side. It turned out well. So that was another little project. As you know, lots of little projects with these deadgum things. These are anchor points that I'm going to have. I'm going to have one here, one on the other side. I'm going to have an anchor point here on both sides. So there'll be another one of these to be able to anchor some rope or paracord or what have you. I'm also going to have an anchor point on each side here for the same purpose. Anchoring stuff down. This just keeps going to be used. I'm not just going to build this thing and stick it in shows or, clean. I'm going to actually use the dead gum thing. So a little bit as she goes, but she's coming along. Here's the underside I was mentioning to you on the gas tank. Got a big old aero tank here. There's the suspension work that Tyler helped me with. By design, all bespoke, all his welds. I didn't weld any of that. Look at that. But we've got all of our angles worked up. Dana 44 axles, both front and rear. But back to the filler neck, cutting that out, reorienting that to where it connects perfectly to the gas tank inlets. We've got this extra structure here. Had a lot of pointers talking about putting that in because of flex of the rear. So this particular bar goes all the way across the top of that aero tank and should add a little bit more rigidity to the rear area right above the shackle mounts. So I've got to make sure when I do my gas tank, I guess the gas gauge as well as the internal fuel pump, that I orient that away from this particular bar, but that will come later. But the tank is sitting in there the way it will be. I just got it lightly bolted for now. The bash bar, which is a very interesting idea that Tyler came up with when I was there in Oklahoma. I wanted to have some way to tie down things in the back of the bed, and I needed some type of anchor point. And we came up with an idea that would both accommodate that need as well as if anything were to be in the back of the truck and were to slide forward. I didn't want anything to dent the sheet metal gauge steel that I have on the back side of the bulkhead, which I'm using to create a storage area. So I'll show you that too. This is a bash bar, which was actually an invention late night and at Tyler's place in Oklahoma. This is not to get away from the bulkhead, but this is actually going to be great because it's going to give me the ability to have some tie down points as well as protect this thin sheet metal from anything that may shift in the bed if something were to happen. I didn't want this to get dented and look really, really bad. So call this the bash bar. This will be mounted in. I've got some attachments here that can be used for anchor points. This will get welded on. It's just held on by zip ties for now. This vehicle, I want to have quite a bit of sound dampening and thermal dampening, so I'm going to be using both the thermal and the sound products from Lizard Skin. There will be carpet in this machine, so that's going to help a little bit, but there's still a lot of acoustics that are going to need to be muted on the inside. The tub's got to come off. It's going to go to a painter. I sure as heck am not going to be doing that. Fortunately, the tub's in pretty good shape. I don't have a whole lot of rust. Really, it's just surface rust for the most part. My dad left me with that blessing for sure. Paint is still kind of a color decision I am still trying to figure out. I've got a couple of ideas. Green is in there, some gray, some taupes. Done. When that tub is gone, Tyler's going to come back down here and help me with hard welding in some of the mounts and things that need to be done. That will be a lot easier to do when the tub's gone. Orient the drive shafts as well as accommodate and weld in the rest of the exhaust. Here's an extra little bonus I gotta try to figure out is cleaning out the inside of these doors. They're not bad, but I hate to just put material on top of it. Again, my dad did not leave me with a total rusted out Jeep. I've been very fortunate from that aspect, but I need to find a way to clean these out. Do I take the doors off or not? That's a question. A lot of guys have had issues with realigning the doors. I'm hesitant to take them off. I do want those hinges both to be black because I'm going to be doing black hardware on the outside, so I may have to take the dead gum doors off to do the hinges correctly. I've been working on the striker areas for the doors. I took all that out so I could clean underneath them. That turned out well. I've got to do the other side.